Okay, today in Shelly's Kitchen we're going to teach you how to make rouladen. First of all, go to your butcher and have him cut you some strips of meat. It can be done with a London broiler, it can be with round roast, top round, any type of meat you want, but the secret is to get it as thin as you can. So what I did is I had him cut it into lengths, and you can see how thin it is. If your butcher can't get it this thin, you're going to have to pound it with a meat tenderizer, okay? Take the long strips, and what you're going to do is cut them into thirds. So you have a strip like this, and then you're going to take this strip, and I like French's mustard because I like the tanginess, but also I throw this away when I'm done because it's going to be contaminated. So I squirt in some mustard. I put a third of a strip of bacon in that's cooked, and then just about a teaspoon of onion, and then you just take the meat over and you roll it like that, and you seal it with a toothpick so it doesn't come undone. And that is a rouladen ready to go in the frying pan and to saute for about 45 minutes to an hour before it's ready to eat. We're going to start to cook our rouladen, and what we're going to do is I've got 2 pans ready to go, and I'm going to heat the pan as hot as I can get it, and I'm going to add a little bit of oil to it. And once I do that, I'm going to kind of stir it around, and then I'm going to add the rouladen with some tongs so that I can place them so we can flip them when we need to. So we're going to put one in, and you'll hear the sizzle. Beautiful rolls. We got it brown and really good, so the gravy is really rich and brown. Some of those aren't quite there. Still leave a little. Yeah. So we're just going to add here at least a cup of water into this one. Okay, right now we've added the water and we're going to set the heat at about a medium where you have a simmer. I'm turning this one up a little bit because I had it too low. And then I'm going to add a little beef broth. I usually like beef stock that's frozen. So you may want to get frozen kind that's a little more condensed. We're just going to add a little beef broth just on top. And while they're simmering, I'm going to take some of the onions and leftover mustard. So we've added some beef stock here. I like more condensed usually. I got a nice simmer going on here. Looks like the gravy is going to be nice and rich and brown because we browned the meat really good. If you are a mustard fan, I don't always do this, but I take some of the leftover onion and just sprinkle it on top. It has been soaking in the mustard, left over from when we cooked. Oh, this will now simmer probably for 30 to 45 minutes. The meat is pretty thin, so I'm thinking it might be even sooner, but we're going to cover both of them and let them cook all the way. Continue to cook it on the stovetop. We are now reducing the gravy, but you're going to need to flip your meat over one by one to make sure they all end up being as tender as they want to be, but we want to get the sauce as thick as we can get it. So once we do this, we're just going to boil it now or on a high simmer to get it to reduce so we have a richer gravy. These are falling apart. The meat's almost just falling off the toothpick here. Okay, so now we're taking the Roualden out of the pan and we're putting it into a pan so you can put it in the warmer drawer. If you don't have a warmer drawer, you can cover it with tin foil, which works very nice and keeps them hot. My goal is to add this gravy to that gravy, to reduce it and thicken it, to make it a real rich Roualden gravy. So I prefer cornstarch with cold water to thicken the gravy. That way we don't create a roux and we don't have some floury tastes in it. So I'm going to add some cornstarch here in the mixing bowl or measuring cup. And then I'm going to go add some cold water. Adding the cold water. Actually turn my heat up. I had turned it off so we didn't reduce it any further. Stir the cornstarch in, get it smooth, never lumpy. And I want this boiling as much as I can when I add it so it thickens quickly. And on the other. You see the consistency is like milk, and it poured in just a little bit to see how quickly we thicken up here, and it's going to thicken up, I think, quite drastically. Ooh, nice. And there you have a real rich Roualden gravy, which comes from browning the meat very hard. You're going to turn your heat down because you've got the perfect consistency. And add a little bit of beef broth to let it kind of the right consistency. So this is our final gravy. You can see how rich it is. I want it a little bit thin. I don't want it too thick so it tramples over the meat and looks delicious. So we added some beef paste. We added a little bit more salt. And that's our end product. You can see the pieces of onion that we put in earlier. They're barely visible. So look at that. They're caramelized and perfect. So that will be presented with the rouladen to put on a plate. So now we're going to the warming oven, or if you protected the rouladen with a piece of tin foil, keep it hot. What I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to go ahead and pull the toothpick. A lot of people keep them in for their guests to enjoy. But then I am going to just coat it in the rich gravy. And that is your end product for rouladen.